Hello everyone, welcome to Civic Sense. I am Dr. Madhukar Sham. Today I am going to review the book Why Bharat Matters. This book is a collection of 11 essays, all of them are well connected, some even overlapping. It could also be considered as a part 2 of his previous writing, The India Way Strategies for an Uncertain World, in which author argued that it is a time for us to engage America, manage China, reassure Russia, cultivate Europe, bring Japan into play, draw neighbors in and extend the neighborhood. However, in this new book, Why Bharat Matters, author says that with the passage of time, much of this has advanced, but obviously not equally on all fronts, due to some international changes or global changes or changes in the global politics. So let us understand that changes in global politics or the transformation of global politics. The transformation of global politics itself set the context of the book, so it is important to discuss here. The Russia-Ukraine war is one of the reason. The exploding West Asia is another reason. Impact of COVID pandemic on the economy, uh, great power competition. So all these issues are creating some or other kind of volatility in international politics. So in this background, how India is going to become a prospect country is one of the questions raised by the author. The second question he raised and discussed in this book extensively, that is how much we have progressed in the preceding years and how differently we are now seen after 2014. So these two question author discussed in this book. So let me take the changes or what author is trying to say after 2014, what kind of changes uh, he has brought in his foreign policy. So let me first discuss the change number one, that is uh, author is saying that now we have moved out of defensive non-alignment posture to engaging multiple partners at the same time with equal confidence. Second is that now India is considered as a Vishwamitra. That is, India is offering solution to the regional as well as the global issues. For example, India offered a solution to the energy crisis by saying that India is promoting or supporting International Solar Alliance in COP21 uh, in Paris 2015. So with this, author is saying that now world is viewing India with more respect, with more energy, and with more expectation. So what we need to understand here is that author is highlighting the development that is taking place after 2014. Another point is that author is saying in G20 summit that happened recently in 2023, in which India sets the agenda for the world and world had taken it in a very positive manner. So in world is now looking India and expecting more from India in the rise India as a rising power. Next point that author highlights here is that Prime Minister's personal chemistry is attracting the international peers or is one of the major talking points among the international peers. For example, in 2014, when Prime Minister went to the USA and his discipline of fasting was a major point or the discussion point among the international peers. Followed by that, the practice of yoga by the Prime Minister is also often discussed in by the world leaders. So these kind of policy or diplomacy is attracting the world leader that India with its strong leader, disciplined leader is moving forward or is moving towards a rising India. Third aspect is that author is also discussing that our prime minister is tech friendly prime minister. Our prime minister is tech friendly prime minister. Prime minister is interested in technology. Prime minister is interested in participating in innovation, research, science and technology, business summit. So all these things are helping the prime ministers to in bringing more and more investment for the country. Next point is that author is saying that after praising the prime minister, author is saying that India is also moving towards with a firm determination on its issues like terrorism, on its issues like Article 370, on the issues like not accepting the world pressure and saying no to the RCEP. So India is taking firm decision. So first one is on terrorism. India, as a member of the UNSC, uh, organized one of the meeting in 2022 in one of the place or the one of the site of Mumbai terror attack. So which shows that India is trying to send message to the world that we are affected by the terrorism. So we are not going to accept, or we are not going to take any easy step on terrorism. India is very vocal on criticizing and questioning any country or any organization whosoever is promoting the terrorism or supporting the terrorism. No fund for terrorism is a slogan of India, which is well accepted by the world also. Another point is nationalism, which is also reflected in the Indian diplomacy. When it comes to Article 370 or revoke of Article 370, world was making some or other kind of pressure, but India's nationalism was helping the government of India to resolve the issue and resolving the issues and resolving the revoking the Article 370 and normalizing the Jammu and Kashmir issue. Another point was that India was facing major challenge or major pressure from the Southeast Asian country, East Asian country, when they were expecting India to join the RCEP. So India said that it is not in favor of India's national interest, so we are not going to join RCEP. And hence, India is also simultaneously pointing that we are not against globalization, we are in favor of globalization, but we need to take the case by case study. We are not here to give everything to in support of the free trade agreement. So India protects its market also in this in this pressure. India managed to take this pressure. Simultaneously, India is also pointing out that we changed. What type of change? While we were discussing on the West Asian issue, RCP was East Asia or Southeast Asia. So when we are talking about the West Asia, Israel-Palestine issue was one of the major challenge for India. So previous government could not manage this Israel and Palestine issue separately, but this government managed somehow the Israel and Palestine issue separately. So taking steps and questioning the Hamas on the terror attack on Israel was one of the example. So we can say that there are changes in the foreign policy. Author also highlighted that neighborhood first diplomacy in 2014 onwards was also a changing aspect in the foreign policy of India, along with the Sagar projects. So, with all these points, author is trying to prove that or justify that in last one decade should be or could be considered as a decade of change, or world is now viewing India with more expectation, more aspiration. So India should work to fulfill its national interest. So the first question, that is how India is going to become a prospect country, comes here. So India, that is more Bharat, because this is new India. They are talking about new India. New India is more Bharat. This is what author is saying. And when we are talking about Bharat, how can we deny that Bharat is associated with the great epics like Ramayana or Mahabharat? So author also discussed about the Ramayana and the characters of Ramayana and Mahabharat in this book, Why Bharat Matters, or the central message of Ramayana and Mahabharat. That is, Ramayana is talking about the rule of law or pursuit of nobility. So, whereas Mahabharata is talking about the statecraft and diplomacy. So, author is highlighting both the points and saying that we should also talk about rule of law in international politics. So he took an example of characters like Sugriv from Ramayana, Hanuman from Ramayana. He took how Lord Rama managed to build the Rama Rajya in the with the rule of law. So he's trying to discuss all these aspects and how India should use these concepts, the rule of law, uh, in international politics or in its foreign policy to develop a diplomacy of or bringing more solution to this problem that is taking place in international politics. So taking historical approach, philosophical approach to resolve the contemporary issue is one of the purpose of writing this book. Another aspect is that author is also trying to highlight that without culture, without heritage, we cannot talk about this new India or Bharat. So at the end, I would like to tell you that this book, in which author is talking or praising Prime Minister Modi, in which he is highlighting that after 2014, so many changes took place. He is taking more one-sided view on this aspect. There are n number of things that also took place before 2014 and which could be considered as a change in the foreign policy domain. Since when the structural change took place in 1991, so at that point of time, Prime Minister PV Narasimha Rao began the policy of look east, which was further extended by our previous Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee. So now it is called Act East. So this policy is still, we can see that is a continuous form of policy when we are talking about the East. Now we can also talk about the neighborhood diplomacy. Neighborhood diplomacy was also discussed by Prime Minister I.K. Gujral when he was also the foreign minister. So neighborhood diplomacy began with that in more structured way. Earlier also neighborhood diplomacy was always there in our foreign policy, but I.K. Gujral gave it a shape. But author is now discussing more that more 2014 onwards we are talking. But after 2014 also we saw that there are n number of challenges that are coming in our neighborhood. That is the Maldives is one of them. The Nepal is one of them. That earthquake of Nepal and the blockade issue, or what we say the constitutional making when they were becoming anti-India. So all these issues are creating some or other kind of trouble. In Bhutan also we can see that China is talking with Bhutan, discussing the border issue. So how India is going to manage these crises? Simultaneously, we can see that uh, in order to understand this book, you need to read the contemporary issues in more detail. So, whosoever is interested in reading the foreign policy, international relations, diplomacy, culture, heritage, you should go for this book, read this book, and analyze this book. And if you want me to make more detailed video, do let me know in the comment box. And please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Civic Sense. थैंक यू। फिर मिलेंगे अगले वीडियो।